Alright guys, so we're going to be talking about some Season 8 information here for Fortnite, and we're going to be going through the map changes to the game, what we're going to be seeing changed in this new Season 8 map. And this video specifically, I want to focus on potential locations actually returning to the game. Now, there may be certain storyline reasons as to why this may happen. I want to go bounce off of the AMA that they did on Reddit. A bunch of the Fortnite developers and producers, they were answering a bunch of questions, and one of the questions was regarding bringing back old locations. Now, this is something they've, teased at time and time again, certain stuff returning, but this time around for Season 8, it actually may be possible, especially that if we do get this whole snow biome to melt, there's a lot of room now for stuff to return, and, depending on what they want to change in the desert biome as well, that has been pretty stagnant for a couple of seasons. I'm not saying they're going to get rid of the desert biome, but certain stuff could be incorporated back into the game. So the main ones that I'm going to be focusing on, obviously, in the title are Dusty Depot, Moisty Mire, and Factories, and obviously other stuff like Risky Reels and Anarchy Acres we'll touch upon as well. So let's go through here where we're actually getting this from. This is from, and I feel like Epic Games, they've teased this before. I don't know exactly where. This is the best example because it was just yesterday that they said this, but I feel like at some point throughout the past couple of seasons, they've said like, oh, maybe this will return, or we're not going to ever see this again. I don't think they've ever said like this is gone forever, but here's what they said, or they asked the question, someone asked the question, are there any plans on bringing back old popular points of interest such as Risky Reels? I see tons of requests to bring them back every once in a while. I don't know why he said Risky Reels. I know it was a popular area, but that's fairly new. So anyway, they responded with nothing like this is ever off the table. So that's actually very interesting that they even responded to it, one, but two, and they pretty much said it's never off the table. So when they remove these locations, it's not like they're never going to add them back. It's not like they're just out of question, out of sight, out of mind. That's it. Never going to see them. Because with certain questions that they've been asking, Epic Games, they give straight up answers to. So I know another question on this AMA, someone asked if it was ever possible to see the old map return to the game. So literally the old map with the old, I guess weapon balancing and pretty much everything that was around in the game during a certain point. Let's say exactly 1 year ago to the date. So let's say February 23rd, 2018. Is it possible to bring us back to that point? And they straight up said, probably not possible. We're going to bring back the classic LTM to emulate what it was like, and with, have the old weapon set from that time, but really bringing back the whole map and the weapon balancing and everything that was around during that game, it's just not really the most possible thing they can do. And they straight up said that. So for this as well, this is very interesting, that the fact that they didn't say like, oh, probably not going to happen, or very unlikely. They said it's never off the table. So that's a really cool response, and it definitely gets me and a bunch of people excited that they could probably bring back a bunch of stuff, and they're probably planning on bringing back a bunch of stuff very soon. So the question is, what are they going to bring back? If they were to bring back anything, what are they going to bring back? So before we talk about the locations that they may bring back, I found a theory on Twitter that may have some explanation as to why we may see some stuff return for Season 8 just based on the storyline. So this guy said, my theory is that the cracks spreading on the Fortnite island are going to be so bad that a disaster from the prisoner making the earthquakes happening, it'll make, some sort of butterfly event from Season 6 happen again, and that will save us from this prisoner sort of trying to break up the map and destroy the Fortnite map, and that will sort of bring us back in time, technically bringing us some of the other points of interest that were around back in that time. So I guess he's pretty much saying that this butterfly being, whatever happened there, this higher power within Fortnite is gonna save us from the prisoner, or from this like Fire King prisoner guy that we see in the week 11 loading screen. Maybe this guy is trying to destroy the whole map. We go back in time, we're saved, and obviously if we go back in time, a bunch of the old, locations will be there because we're going, back in time. So that would get rid of the snowy biome, maybe potentially even get rid of the desert biome. I don't know if they're going to go that far, but that would be very interesting, and that would sort of, be some sort of storyline reason as to why this is happening and how we escape the map from breaking apart and being destroyed. So that'd be very interesting to see how that works. But let's just talk about realistically, what locations would they bring back? So for one, let's go through Moisty Mire, and then also on the map obviously is the original prison location. So I think in general, Moisty Mire, a bunch of people, when it was still around, we're pretty much calling for it to be replaced. I think that was the first area on the map that people were saying, like, okay, you know what? If they were to add a new biome, if they're going to add something new, just get rid of Moisty Mire. It was a place that people didn't really go to. I think at this point now, people just want it back because of nostalgia, and I bet you a lot of people don't even want Moisty Mire back. It's just a cool thing. Honestly, if they had a really, small version of Moisty Mire, if Moisty Mire wasn't that big, it was just like a little area, just a little town, a little swamp town, that would be really sick if they brought that back. But, the whole Moisty Mire biome, the whole swamp biome, that's definitely never coming back. But the prison, that is something that I could really see come back definitely to that area, and they could probably get rid of one of the desert biome locations and just add the prison back over there. Now obviously if we're going based on this storyline location and we go back in time, that would be pretty cool, that would make some sense. But if they want to just add the prison back just in general, that would just be cool as well, and they don't really need to explain why they're doing it. They just add the prison back and we'd be pretty cool with it. So I think that's definitely a possibility there. Moisty Mire, pretty unlikely, but the prison, really could see that happening. The prison was a fun, cool place to land as well. So next one here is definitely the main one, Dusty Depot. Now, you could go a bunch of different ways with this. So for one, obviously it's now Dusty Divot, and we've seen different expansions to Dusty Divot. We've seen different evolutions of it. It turned into a diner on the top, and then all the trees were filled in the bottom, and people were saying maybe it'll just get filled in at some point. Who knows how that may happen. Maybe there's gonna be a volcano there. I feel like Dusty Divot is a place that's not really set in stone to be a permanent location. Places like Salty Springs or Tilted Towers and Pleasant Park, I feel like those are areas that are just always going to be around. But Dusty Divot is in that main center area that so many things, so many changes have happened to that area that I don't see it staying the same for too long. And if anything, Dusty Depot could probably return in that exact area, maybe over the divot instead of, right where it was before, where, the diner is now, in that whole little area. So that'd be very cool. And Dusty Depot was just a fun, nostalgic area to be. It was the first place that was actually changed on the map, and obviously, people just want it back. It's a bit of a meme, but also would be really sick to see that location back as well. So I think that's really a number one for me and a lot of people, and I don't really like the divot area for some reason. It just seems like a really weird area, and it's so much work to get through that area. And I know they have the zip lines and they're making it a different location, and it's cool, but having the depot back there where it was, or at least in the area, and changing that area around, that'd be pretty cool. I think that's what a lot of people would want in the game. So next to here, Anarchy Acres, Risky Reels, and a bunch of the other, I feel like, miscellaneous ones that I don't really see it's too necessary to bring these back. Obviously, we already have one farm. We have Fatal Fields. We really didn't need Anarchy Acres, and I don't know, Lazy Links is a pretty cool location to have. I think they should replace the Lazy Links anyway, eventually, but Lazy Links was definitely a good replacement. Anarchy Acres just wasn't really necessary. And Risky Reels, I'm pretty sure, is fairly new, unless time is flying and Risky Reels, had been around for such a long time, which it probably has, because time's just going so fast at this point. But Risky Reels, I don't think it's too necessary to bring that back. And even if there was some sort of storyline reason or explanation to bring Risky Reels back, it'd just be, it'd be weird, because they have the block now, and they want to showcase people's creations, and they want to, sort of advocate for people to continue to create new stuff within Fortnite, because you'll have a chance of it being shown on the full map, which is a really huge deal to people that make those things. So they would never want to get rid of that unless they moved the block to a different area. I think the block is probably going to stay there. And Risky Reels, you know, unless they move Risky Reels somewhere else, there's really a very small chance to see that return as well. So yeah, the chances of old locations returning, if you want to bring it down to 1 or 2, I would say the prison and Dusty Deep. I think number 1's the prison, honestly. Dusty Depot, I could see potentially, you know, it was the first one to go, and it's the first one to truly come back in its full form, and people would be hype, and I think they would do a lot to bring that back, and that would really get people excited. So that would be cool as well. Most likely, though, the prison. I think that would be really sick. I know a bunch of things like the factories as well that, you know, could be a possibility. The factories was another thing that got, you know, destroyed with the divot. So if they do something, bring back the factories, you know, they could, you know, fill up the divot and then bring the factories back to where it was before, then maybe not bring Dusty Depot back and just, you know, have the factories as that main area that, you know, returns, because it would be weird if you had Dusty Depot and then also the diner, unless they get rid of the diner and they bring back Dusty Depot and they bring back factories. But that's going way too back. I don't want them to just, you know, not just get rid of everything they changed and go back to normal. So, you know, they have to change the game. They have to make it new and innovative and different. So, you know, if they want to bring the factories back, I guess you can't have the depot back, so you gotta pick one or the other. But the factories would be another pretty sick one that's fairly easy to add to the game and not really a big deal. You can pretty much add the factories and the prison to any location. It doesn't need to be the same location. It just could be anywhere randomly in between 2 towns, and it would fit well and it'd be cool and people would like it. So I don't know, we'll see what they do. Let me know in the comment section below which one you want to return, and yeah, that's pretty much it. See you guys later.